So, I watched Megalopolis recently, and it was definitely a movie. A film nerd named Michael asked me to watch it, and I had nothing else to do on a random Monday afternoon. So I did, and boy was it quite the experience. Francis Ford Coppola, director of legendary films such as Apocalypse Now, The Godfather, Jack, had this baby brewing for a while. I'm talking like 40 years. Bit of a long story, TLDR. It was in production hell. Coppola constantly rewrote the script. No company wanted to invest. Coppola sold a portion of his winery to finance the film himself, and the movie debuted to just awful box office numbers. This is the part where I usually describe the film's plot in long, arduous detail and pretend like that's transformative content. But I don't think I can do that with this movie. It's so disjointed with a bunch of different things happening. Is there a plot? Seriously, I'm asking you, is there a plot for this film? This architect named Caesar can stop time and is super far up his own ass for some reason. This other guy, Cicero, hates Caesar for being innovative, I think. He's also the mayor of New Rome. If you couldn't tell, Francis really wanted this to mirror the downfall of Rome. His daughter, I don't even remember her name, is the only person that knows Caesar can stop time, and they fall in love for some reason. Oh, and Caesar was accused by Cicero of murdering his wife. The murder subplot and time freezing element play very little roles in this movie. It just seemed like Francis thought they were cool ideas and decided to include them. And you know what? That's honestly what the entire movie feels like. A bunch of ideas that seem cool or interesting before they're actually executed. Coppola either had no one tell him that he needed to trim some fat off the movie, or he was so obsessed with finally getting the film finished and made that he decided to jam as many ideas as he possibly could. I don't know. I don't know what's happened. Shia LaBeouf is in here doing some wacky shit as Claudio. He frames Caesar as a pedophile by deep faking him having sex with Grace Vanderwall. Nobody showed Daniel Larson this film.
I will bomb your house!
Claudio eventually becomes a Trump-type politician, which is supposed to be an allusion to American politics veering into fascism. I'm not speculating on that, by the way. I know that's what Francis meant. He was very on the nose about it. Claudio also loves having group sex with his sisters. That, I have no idea what Francis meant by including this. Aubrey Plaza, yeah, I feel like she overacts as Wow Platinum. And yes, that's her character's name, Wow Platinum. You know what? Everybody overacts in this movie. The dialogue is so odd. It's like Coppola wanted each line of dialogue to end up in a Watch Mojo top 10 list of most iconic lines from a movie. But in reality, everybody just sounds like a Redditor. Everybody's like on like r/philosophy or some shit.
So go back to the club.
The only actor whose performance was consistently perfect was Jon Voight. And that's because he did not give a single shit. Jon Voight portrays Crassus, an insanely rich banking executive that is the uncle of Caesar and Claudio, as well as the husband of Wow Platinum. So, I remember this character because of one scene. So for context, after having an extremely awkward sex scene between aunt and nephew, again, what did Coppola mean by this? Claudio and Wow are conspiring to usurp Crassus from his position to obtain his wealth. Crassus knows this somehow, so he fakes a heart attack and feigns recovery. Claudio and Wow visit him at his bed, and I shit you not, Crassus says he says something along the lines of, "What do you think of this boner I got here?" Showing a pitched up tent at his blanket. Oh my this shit had me howling in the theater, man. It was just such a middle school sounding line, and it being said by an old man in this movie that wants to be taken seriously, that was just the icing on the cake. Anyways, the boner is actually a crossbow, and Crassus shoots Wow in the chest and Claudio in the ass. Twice. There's some good things with this film. Some scenes look like Coppola was trying to push his artistic vision to its limit, and for that, I respect it. Other scenes have green screen effects that look like it would be right at home on the CW. The way this movie looks just reminds me of 2005, if that makes sense. Honestly, it's probably just the warm color hue that's present throughout the film, but yeah, it reminds me of 2005 for some reason. Megalopolis. It is certainly a movie. Is it any good? No, not really. But if you want to see something that is intended to be profound and end up as an accidental comedy, this may be a fun watch. Or if you want something to stimulate you while you're high on heroin, this could work for that as well. Francis Ford Coppola may have an incest fetish.
So go back to the club. club.